What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So it's a couple days late, but nonetheless here we are. The Trouble with Tessa episodes 3 and 4, which dropped on Tuesday. So I did plan on putting this video up on Wednesday, probably yesterday, but I thought let me give it a little bit more time for those who have been watching the series over on Screambox. Again, if you didn't know, exclusive series over on Screambox. We got episodes 1 and 2 last week, which we did put up our episode reviews for 1 and 2 last week. We're doing 3 and 4 today, and then next week we get the last 2 episodes, 5 and 6, which we will do probably Thursday or Friday as well. Again, just to give it enough time for people who are watching it or who may want to watch it, time to watch it, right? I don't want to put up a spoiler video literally the very next day. I don't think that's very fair. So I did purposefully wait an extra day or so before putting this video up, because I know, again, a lot of you are probably watching this. If you have Screambox, it was ranked in the first week number 2. It started off at number 2 in the top 10 on Screambox, and then it quickly moved to number 1. I think last time I checked, as of this morning, it was at number 2, which is it's great. I think it's a tremendous achievement for this series. If you don't know the background on this, I would highly recommend you go check it out. For all those who are involved in creating this series, I imagine, again, having not seen episodes 5 and 6, not sure how this is going to end. If this is kind of like a one and done type 6-episode series, or if this is just the beginning of something, right? We'll have to wait and see. But we're reviewing episodes 3 and 4 for this video today. So we've already laid all the foundation, everything in the last video as far as how this is going to go, how we're going to do the review, and pretty much where we're at up to this point. So as of right now, as I will always do and continue to do, I'm giving you a verbal warning: spoilers. We're going to talk about spoilers. Spoiler alert, spoiler warning. And if you look under me, you should now be seeing a spoiler icon. So I'm letting you know now, if you are watching this series and you haven't watched episodes 3 and 4, pause this, come back to this video, and let us know down in the comment section what you thought of the 2 new episodes. Otherwise, we are talking spoilers as of this moment. And I am going to try and keep this one a little bit more summarized, since, again, in the original video, we were pretty much laying the foundation of how this was going to work out. So, and we also, as a reminder, we will put this video up in the Trouble with Tessa playlist on the channel. So all 3 videos will be placed there once fully complete. All right, so we're going to get into it now. So episode 3, The Bone King. Just like the previous episode 2, this one starts off, we spend about the first minute or so, about a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes, recapping the previous episodes or what's previously happened. We come into this one, part 3, The Bone King, and we pick up right where we left off on episode 2. Okay, we have Freddie sitting with Tessa in the woods. They were chit-chatting, and the way the episode 2 ended, he revealed who he was, and Tessa, we saw her kind of freak out. That's where we're picking up. And where we pick up is she's heard the name, she starts to walk away. He becomes kind of offended, upset. Like, oh, yeah, you know who I am. I didn't kill her. And you can see at first she's first hesitant. Tessa gets a little hesitant, wants to still leave, but wants to not leave and pass judgment, and she doesn't. She decides to sit back down and have a conversation with Freddie. And you can see the fear in her eyes. And kudos to the actress, because she looked like she was on the verge of tears at first, before the scene kind of like settled a bit. And Freddie was expressing to Tessa, hey, I didn't kill her. This is what happened. I was not at the house. I went to go get something. He says, I think it was paint. People saw me. And even though people saw me in town, they still accused me. So this then leads to Tessa opening up about herself, where she pretty much says, yeah, I'm not a genealogist. I do documentaries. And we get a little bit more backstory on why she is here, like why she left the city. I just assume New York or some big city. I'm saying New York, that's what I'm assuming. So she expresses to Freddie why she's there, what's happened, a little bit more about the documentary that her and her producer Aaron were working on, and why she fled. And I think that was very helpful. I'm glad we're getting that a bit more about that now. We assumed obviously there was something going on. We knew about a documentary, but we didn't know why she had left. We didn't know why her and Aaron were being sued. Now we kind of know. There was, this political individual they were doing in this documentary for. They uncovered some things. They decided to expose and reveal that, which is now causing the lawsuit and why she took off. So they have this back and forth conversation, and this is where, during the conversation, as it's coming to, I don't want to say a conclusion, but there's a noise in the woods, and it sounded very close. I don't know if that was intentional or it was just how the sound editing was done, but Freddy obviously hears it. It gets his attention, and he looks over towards that direction. And we're not clear on who or what made the sound, but as soon as he hears it, and this is after he tells a story about the Bone King that he had heard about a child. And side note, if you remember in the first couple episodes, we were seeing this intro that we were going into this cave. That intro or that scene comes back up as Freddy's telling Tessa about the story of the Bone King, and we see some quick snapshots of the cave, some quick snapshots of the Bone King kind of just standing still, not moving. And so he's telling her about this. And she's now thinking, maybe it wasn't Freddy that killed and the woman in the house, which we find out her name's Amelia, which I'm glad we finally got the name. So he hears the noise and realizes, okay, hey, meet me at this place 30 minutes before lockdown, 30 minutes before like the horn or the that goes off across the town. Again, we've talked about what those horns are used for in the real world, and as far as tornado warnings and things like that across the Midwest, across the Bible Belt. In this, they're used for far something different. Tessa goes back home. She puts in one of the videotapes, and it's a videotape from Christmas. Freddy and Amelia exchanging gifts, and we see a very much younger Freddy. And they exchange gifts, and they have this conversation where they're trying to get out of this town. And Freddy's like, I just need a little bit more time. And she's like, well, what about your mother? She gonna let you? And he's like, you know what? Pretty much forget her. I love you. We're getting out of this place. We're gonna go live our life. And he rubbed her. He touched her stomach, like rubbed her belly, indicating and implying that she's pregnant. Which I think we knew that at some point, because that was in the trailer, but we haven't gotten to that scene where she's sitting in the chair fully, like she can tell she's fully pregnant and she's looking very sickly. We haven't gotten to that point yet, so I'd imagine it's going to somehow pop up in the last 2 episodes, because it didn't pop up in episode 3 or 4. So they do some. So Tessa continues to watch this video of them exchanging the gifts on this videotape. Eventually comes to an end. And this is where she gets a phone call from Aaron. Now, I will say of this episode, this was my favorite part of the episode, and it provided a bit of a comedic relief from everything that has transpired, because she pretty much tells Aaron, after he tells her he couldn't find anything out about this town. There's literally nothing out there on the web. It starts to dawn on her, this is a bad place. Something's awful, something's a little off. And then she reveals to him that, I met with Freddy and had booze. And of course, he then starts freaking out. So two of the things that he said, why are you getting drunk with the local murderer? And I'm sorry, I literally laughed out loud on that, because when you see how he says it and his expression in saying it, you can't help but laugh. And then as she's like, okay, I gotta go, I'm gonna meet him, and he says he says a line, don't hang up the phone. Everything you are saying and doing is bad. Everything you are saying and doing is bad. He just keeps repeating this up until she hangs up on him. Again, it was probably my favorite scene. That the back and forth between the two of them on this phone call was probably my favorite scene of this episode. So he's freaking out. They have this small back and forth, and as she's getting ready to leave, we see the man from the first 2 episodes that had the limp when she was in the bar. There was another gentleman outside, not Freddy. So remember, we saw Freddy. This would have been episode 2. where she comes out, she sees sees Freddy walking away, but then we see another individual, had a hat on, long hair, and he walked away limping. We hadn't seen him up until this point again. He's outside waiting for her, trying, is knocking on the doors, and she sees him. So now she's freaking out, thinking he's there to get her. So she's panicking, going through the house. And the way they film this sequence of her moving about the house, it was because she's kneeling down, crouched down, running, and then sitting up against the walls. And it was as if the camera moved down at that angle to give you that same perspective, which I thought was a nice touch. It wasn't just moving from room to room or cut scenes. It was actually giving you that perspective of you're running at the same level that she's running. He's outside. He knows she's in there. He waits by her car, and then she realizes, I'm gonna go out the back door, and she goes to meet Freddy at this specific place in the woods. She comes across on her way there what appears to be some entrails, and as the camera angle goes closer and closer up, it looked to me like it was a rabbit, because you can almost see a rabbit head, and it looked like it could have been some other things, but you can definitely see a rabbit head there. No context as to what caused this, what did this, and after she sees this, she runs off. And then this is where we get into the full night mode. She catches up with Freddy, and he's like, "You're late. Where were you?" She has a little bit back and forth there. Hands him the Christmas videotape, and you can see that he gets a smile on his face. The memories start coming back, and then she thinks that he actually did kill Amelia. And he's trying to convince her, hey, that's not the case. I didn't do it. She's not believing him. She's saying, you guys are all tricked. There's no monsters. You all have been fooled. The horn or the alarm thing goes off. They hear it and they realize it's lockdown time. They shouldn't be outside. She's getting louder and louder. He's trying to tell her to be quiet. She pulls out the dictaphone, plays a tape. And then next thing you know, it's like something knocks her down or hits her, because she falls back. And as she sits up and comes to, she sees what we believe to now be the Bone King killing Freddy. Absolutely just tearing him apart, and just the blood splatter all over her. And that's where we end. It was, again, it's another quick episode, about 24 minutes. And we see the Bone King's arms being raised. He's screaming, she's screaming. Freddy's out of it. He can't help her. And again, that's where this episode ends. So for this episode, I'm gonna give this one. We spent a little bit more time on the first. We break this down into thirds. The first third of this was broken on getting more of the backstory from Freddy. She coming out saying who she is. Then we get into the fact of her and Aaron having a conversation. So I would say it was paced fairly well. We got the additional backstory that we needed, and then we also are now getting more context as to what's going on in this town that she's not aware of, and now she's believing. So I'm with this one, again, a solid 4, because again, we didn't spend the entire episode on backstory and then just 2 minutes, just 30 seconds on what happened with Freddy. We got everything we needed from Freddy, and then they pretty much said, yeah, we don't need Freddy anymore. Get rid of him. And now Tessa needs to figure out what's going to happen to her next, which brings us into episode now 4. Episode 4, so episode 4 is called the Hair, H-E-I-R. And the way this episode began from a filming perspective, it felt very different as far as, and this is of course after we get the previously with Tessa, right, when we see what happened in the previous episode. The scenery shots look very more cinematic, as far as we had a shot from within the woods, I believe, and then we got, I think, 1 or 2 more shots before we see Tessa running around this mountain cliff on this gravel road, where she's covered in blood still. It's now morning time, early morning time. So we're seeing her run, and then we're now getting flashbacks of a more clear picture of the Bone King, or what we assume is just this creature. We don't know yet if it's a true Bone King type monster creature, or if it's something else, like somebody just dressed up. But they're killing Freddy. We're seeing his entrails being pulled out. We're seeing a lot more of that graphic kill, so to speak, happening. And then as that scene or that ends, when Freddy is now dead, we see the Bone King, their hand grab the dictaphone that was dropped that Tessa was playing that had Amelia's voice on it. We see the Bone King pick it up for whatever reason at that point, picks it up. So Tessa's now made her way back home. She's in the loo or the restroom, washing her face off, trying not to break down, but breaking down after what she just saw and realizing what's going on. She goes to make a phone call, only to realize that, again, if you remember from the very first episode, from the real estate agent saying, hey, the rules are on the refrigerator, and when we saw a brief snippet of the refrigerator rules, there's certain numbers that dial certain things, and that's what she had to do. So she goes to dial the emergency services, and she's like, hey, pretty much I gotta get out of here. I can't be here. They knew her name, and she didn't understand how they knew her name, but they did. And then the line disconnects as she starts to kind of realize, again, I think more and more, that she might be stuck here. Okay? And then, of all people now to show up, and I've been wondering where she's been at, Betsy shows up. And of course, the timing, right? And I've said this when we did the trailer review reaction, because Betsy was in the trailer. I said, that lady has something to do with this. That lady is no good. I don't know what it is about her, but something's off, right? So she shows up, and she of course, invites herself pretty much back in the house. They're sitting there, and Tessa's telling her about the guy with the limp that showed up, and she's like, oh, that's Robbie. I told him to introduce himself. He's like the local handyman. Your sink was dripping. You don't want to have water issues, so on and so forth. And so Tessa starts to break down and pretty much tell her what transpired. And this is where we then find out that Betsy was Freddy's mom. And pretty much she tells Tessa, yeah, welcome to the town. We have our rules for specific reasons, and it's like Betsy's coming across that, yes, the Bone King, these monsters are real, and we pretty much have an agreement with them. And we follow the rules, and we pretty much feed them pretty much. And as the story goes on a bit more, when Tessa starts to realize that she is pretty much stuck, because then Betsy goes on to say, yeah, we need younger people here. We need more young women here, pretty much to populate the town. And she pretty much tells Tessa, yeah, you're stuck here. As that conversation plays out, they're making their way down the stairs. Betsy's making her way down the stairs and to leave. She turns around and she says, I know you love to record things. Hands her like an old cassette player, like recording player. And Tessa turns it on, and it's Tessa's conversation with Aaron, realizing that they've been listening to her. And Betsy even tells her, hey, we're in the walls. Pretty much we're hearing everything you're doing and saying. And then Tessa freaks out, starts taking apart the phone, starts looking behind the pictures, pretty much tears apart the house to try to find the bugging device, which I don't think she ever found based on how the rest of the search went, because we quickly jump now to nighttime, where the horn in the town goes off for like lockdown. Tessa's sitting there freaking out. She hasn't found anything. She starts pounding on the floor, and the next thing you know, there's a pounding back. Like there's a very significant pounding back, which starts to startle her. And if you remember in the newspapers that we saw in the first couple episodes, and even the real estate agent was saying, don't go in the basement, don't go down there. And then within the newspapers, we saw it in the archives, it said, everyone in the town was told to pretty much border off or lock off their basements, not to go into them. And we knew Tessa went down there because that's how she found all the tapes and everything else, right? So she makes her way back down to the basement. And if you also remember in episode 1, there was a figure in the basement that we saw when she went back upstairs. This figure ran off into the shadows, and that we haven't come back to that yet, which I think that's where we are now figuring out how that figure got into the basement. Because when we get back into the basement with Tessa, she finds the dictaphone that was dropped, and I think it looked like there was blood on it. Okay, and then I think it's the same. I think it was the same dictaphone, because next thing you know, she's searching for batteries, puts it in there, and starts playing it. She's sitting there listening to it, and then as she's looking across the room, I believe, she gets back up and goes beyond like this plastic curtain that's there. She's walking through and she finds some boxes up against the wall, moves them, and finds this hole in the wall. And we start to pan out from her perspective back into this hole, and it's like this very long, deep tunnel, and then the episode ends. So I think that's how the figure, that whatever we saw, and if they are truly creatures or monsters, that's how it's getting into the house. That's how it got into the basement. And then that is why whatever happened, maybe with Amelia's murder or something else, that is why in the newspaper, everyone in the town was told, lock off your basements, board them up, don't go in your basements anymore, because maybe these creatures were burrowing tunnels into the basements of the houses, and that's how they were getting to the victims. So again, that's where the episode ended. This one, again, I give it another, this episode, a solid 4. We see the aftermath of the decisions that Tessa made, one going out after the lockdown, right? Freddie obviously got the consequences of that, died. And now with her coming back, Betsy now revealing, maybe being forced to reveal what's happening in the town, and forced to reveal, we've been listening to you, and then giving her the tape recorder proving, yes, we have been listening to you. So yeah, so that's going to do it for episodes 3 and 4. Again, I'm giving them both a 4. Overall, series-wise, 4. I can make an argument for 4.5, but I'm giving it a solid 4. I do have high expectations on these last 2 episodes we're going to get next week. I'm guessing one of 2 things is either going to happen. This Bone King and these other creatures we're going to affect and find out that they are truly these monsters or what have you. Or we're going to find out it's people in town dressing like this, killing specific people. I think that's what's going to boil down to. And I think again, we got to see some more from Betsy. I can't imagine that we've brought this character in to kind of play this role of puppet master, so to speak, and there not be some level of something happening to her. I'm hoping something happens to her. I don't like her. I didn't like her when we saw the trailer. I knew she was shady. She was a shady old lady, and she's still shady even here. And kudos to the actress. And everything I'm saying has nothing to do with the actress portraying the character. It's the character I'm specifically talking about. Because she has that devious smile, and then in this episode 4, when she has that smile and she immediately just like flips a switch and gets very, very evil with Tessa. So again, solid 4 for both episodes 3 and 4. Still a solid 4 for the series. Make sure you check it out over on Screambox. Episodes 1 through 4 have been released, and we get the final 2 episodes next week. And again, I'll probably do the final reviews for those 2 episodes, because again, those are the last 2 episodes. We're going to do those probably next Friday to again allow about 3 days for everyone to watch them, and then we'll give our final review of the overall series. And then we'll find out then. Will we have a cliffhanger on episode 6, or are they just going to bring it to a conclusion? So that's going to do it for this review for the Trouble with Tessa episodes 3 and 4. Make sure to drop a comment in the comment section if you've been watching this series with us. Let us know what you think. Have you been enjoying it? Again, let us know. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.